Good day to you one and all, it is I, Justin Hawkins. Did you hear the squeak of the chair then? Is that coming through? Don't know. Anyway, I've got a squeaky chair, so I'll have to get the WD-40 out at some point, but not before I've spoken to you about a band that's, I don't know, I've become a little bit obsessed with. So this is a kind of a personal episode, really. It's something that I said to my producer, I love this band, I want to talk about them. So today I'm talking about Field Music. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of them before, but I'll sing the theme tune and then I'll share a playlist and we'll talk about why they're so brilliant, and hopefully you'll appreciate the recommendation and listen through to their stuff and find your own bits and bobs. Yeah. Here we go. Justin Hawkins rides again. Field Music. All right. So I don't think I'll be needing the guitar for this one, actually. So I've made a Spotify playlist, which I'll make public, and there'll be a link to it here in the description. And it's all songs by this band called Field Music. I hadn't heard of them before, but do you remember, I think maybe a couple of years ago now probably, I did a long-form interview with Nate Wood, who's genius level intellect and musician. He's a really great guy, and I asked him to sort of forward any recommendations for sophisticated music from that sort of the second music trade that I've come to appreciate, that isn't silty, sewagey pop music. Like this other industry exists elsewhere, and so he forwarded Field Music to me, and he said, look, you got to check this out. Here are the bangers, the ones that I love, and then he said that if you listen through to it, it's really sophisticated in terms of the arrangements and the instrumentation, and also compositionally and harmonically sophisticated stuff. And I thought, yeah, all right, I'll listen to that then, and I love it. It's just awesome. So what I did was I just made Spotify just play all of their songs, and then as I'm trying to get back into running. So as I was running, I was kind of like, if I heard one that was like, okay, that's conducive to running, I'll put that in the list. So that's what I've been doing. So far there's 8 songs on there, but I'm going to keep adding to it as I find more gems in their catalogue. And you know, if you hear any that you think I've missed, then point me towards it. Field Music are from Sunderland in England, and they formed in 2004. They are brothers David and Peter Brewis, with a lineup that's included members of the Futureheads and Maximo Park in the past, and they've been described as one of the few to outlast the indie guitar scene of the mid-2000s, and that part of their appeal is down to their unself-conscious anti-fashion stance. I mean, I wasn't aware of any of that stuff. I only know this band because of the music, actually. They released Limits of Language in October, and that was their 9th album, and it was their first in almost 4 years, and they're going to be on tour in the UK next month. Speaking about their latest work, David said, I think we've always been quite pure in our intentions as artists. We never altered what we do for the sake of making money or chasing what other people like. And that is the thing I love. It's that thing of like, if you make demands on life, and you know, life doesn't respond well to demands, you know, you just have to, I think, be authentic really, and just do what's, you know, do what you love. Do what you love. I'm always saying that to people. Just do what you love, because if you love it, then you know that's the only thing that matters. You know, it really is. So yeah, amazing that they've managed to get 9 albums out with that ethos and that philosophy. So the first track I've got on there is Let's Write a Book. Oh, I love that riff. I've never seen this video before, but it's collage and it's clumsy and it's great. Yeah, so the song's Let's Write a Book. I don't know what to say about it really, except for you got to check it out. And when you listen to it, you like the mental image you have of what the brothers look like is probably the polar opposite of what they are. You know what I mean? I think it's how can I put this? It sounds like it might. The sort of mental image that you might form would probably be something like Prince if he was in Depeche Mode, but that's not what they look like at all.
We'll always be somewhere else.
Okay, I'll skip to the second chorus there, because what I think is interesting about this is what happens in the post-choruses. Like after the first chorus, you get this weird sort of xylophone. That's at like 45 seconds that happens. And then the next time you get like a post-chorus tag like that, you get something. And that's where I get the Prince vibe. I feel like that sort of, that's at 1 minute 40. You get this, and it's kind of, it reminds me of Sign of the Times or something like that. That era of Prince, you know. So if you're into anything Princey, then you're gonna love that one. And I love this kind of like, it sounds like it's modular synthesizer stuff. That's at what, 2 minutes 16? Here we go. And then at that point, the three kind of elements that have punctuated the singing parts, the xylophony stuff or whatever that chromatic percussion might be, the modular synthesizer bit, and the sort of funk guitar thing, they're all happening at the same time, and they pile on top of each other, and it's really, really great. It's just an awesome arrangement, I think. Okay, then the second track I've got up here is Count It Up. Now, absolutely everything on this playlist makes me happy. You know, like as soon as it starts, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. I remember this song. But I've audibly let out a gasp of yay when I'm running and this one comes on. And I think if I had to posit a theory about what the lyric is talking about, I think it's just sort of an exercise in gratitude and making a list of the things that you have to be grateful for if you're in a privileged part of Western society, I suppose.
If you've ever owned a car or you rent a car, you have a company car, then count that up. Attitude,
it's a hell of a groove and such a brilliant drum sound. It's really well recorded and it makes you happy when it comes in.
Growing list of things you can't claim or credit for. If your mother had a job and your dad had a job when you were growing up, then count that up.
I like the way he wears his shirt done all the way up to the top, apart from the very, very top button. That can be a little bit awkward, especially when you're singing. I think he and I make similar fashion choices these days. I like to cover everything up as well.
Pounds and pennies are the only kind of capital.
There's a little bit that he sings towards the end. I think he says something like, with whatever breath you have left, say something that matters. And he goes like that, and it's sort of, and then that sort of reminds me of a Flight of the Conchords type thing. But it is just a list of things that I think you normally take for granted. But in fact, before you start whinging about your life, how about showing some gratitude for the things that, you know, not everybody gets to enjoy. That's a lovely song. Probably my favourite one at the moment. Okay, so In Context. Yeah, so what I like about this In Context is a brilliant video, because it's like, I've been talking about music videos and how when a music video for a modern song is effective, it's usually just one idea executed really, really well. And that's what this is. This is like somebody with a Sharpie drawing a line, and then the camera follows the line around, and they sort of do the what's that called? I suppose that would be... then they pull out to reveal the image that line has created. It's fucking awesome. And what a great song as well. This is the one that Nate told me to listen to. Which sounds like an organic drum set, but then there's some really interesting sort of reverse snare stuff happening in that groove. And very pure, clean guitar sounds.
Everyone takes their place.
just sit here and listen to the whole thing. But I'm not going to do that because I'm aware that we've got a little bit to get through. So let's move on to the next track. It's just amazing. You're going to love this playlist. So then there's this song called I Might Have Been Wrong from the 2024 album Limits of Language. Yay. So when I heard this first groove at the beginning, I thought, it sounds a little bit like In the Air Tonight, but I think it's more of a bossa nova than that. Not quite. I'm not sure what that drum beat's called. I'll have to explore that. And it has a dramatic. It always reminds me of like a John Carpenter horror theme. These opening bars. I'm just playing it because I want to get to when the drums come in. See, I think that it kind of reminds me of the Aladdin Sane era of Bowie's work, and it's also got a little bit of Roxy music or some of that kind of late 70s, early 80s new wavy stuff. I don't know, it's really atmospheric and it's an interesting drum beat, I think. And I love the way it straightens out for the second part of the revolution. It's great. I might have been wrong. And I think that it's tempting to sort of overlook all the sort of percussive elements that happen in all of these songs, but there's all kinds of hand claps, and one of the songs has got that kind of stuff happening. And that just sounded like a patio door closing or something. I don't know. I'm not sure how they recorded it. Probably wasn't the patio door. But then again, I might have been wrong. Hello. Right, so then do me a favour. This one's a bit more of a acoustic-y one, I think. This one came from 2021, a record called Flat White Moon. So in that drum beat, you can't hear any hi-hats at all. It's just a snare and a kick. Acoustics, they're exploring whenever they record acoustics, it seems like they're really unafraid to explore the stereo image, so that you can really hear the difference between what the two guitars are doing. And there's some instances when you hear like those sort of famous Beatles chords where the only way to achieve it is to play two different chord voicings, which combine in your brain. Actually, that's where the magic happens, and then the sort of harmonic information is formed in your own head. I love stuff like that, because if you listen to one speaker or the other one exclusively, you don't get the full thing, which is probably what puts people off recording in that way. But not field music, they're not afraid of that. And I love those kinds of bass lines that go anything with it just reminds me of Motown. But no, Motown, Fleetwood Motown, I think that reminds me of. Yay. Disappointed. I love this song. These opening chords sort of definitely feel a bit like I think probably that they give my regards to Broadway era Paul McCartney-ish type stuff. love that. You can hear him counting himself in. 1, 2, 3.
This has been going on so long I can't believe it. I made mistakes at the start, and it seems you can't forgive them.
That bass line's interesting because it doesn't play anything on the 1, but there's a kick there. And it's on the and, I think, after the 1. And
I see the two of us.
oh, that second chord there, there's definitely a 9 in it, but I played it just above the root of a one-hand voicing, and I always think that gives it a kind of Lionel Richie hello kind of vibe, you know, when there's an F sharp over an E. What key is that in? So like a B with a C sharp in it. Oh, it's gorgeous. It really is. Poshes up like if you're a piano player and you want to find a way of making your voicing sound a little bit less rudimentary, add a 9 anywhere and always stick it just above the root of a one-hand voicing. Then you got your other hand, you can do whatever you want with it, do a bass line or whatever. This is just a great example of how to posh up a simple piano part just by adding a 9th. You know what I'm talking about.
I see us getting nowhere.
In all those chords, I think there's 9s. It's great. Oh God, I love this song. It reminds me of, there's a song by The Call, I think it was, called I Still Believe. Dum, 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 dum. And it's the one that Timmy Capello does the cover version of at the beginning of the movie Lost Boys, when they do that sort of tracking shot into the pier at Santa Cruz. And then Timmy Capello's there with his shirt off, all oiled up, playing saxophone and singing a cover of The Call song, I Still Believe. And that has a similar sort of vibe to it, where the bass line isn't on the 1, it's like dum 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 like that. So yeah, I suppose that's one of the reasons why I like Disappointed so much. It just reminds me of the opening sequence of Lost Boys. Sounds about right. Which one is this again? Oh yeah, I like this one because it's all synthesizery. And those tom sounds has a real gated reverb. And I suppose what I'm talking about there is like it has this kind of huge, expansive kind of room sound to it, which is cut off after less than a second, obviously. But it's like so in its natural form without the gate, that would go, But they've cut it off, and that's a trick that Phil Collins used to use a lot. But this reminds me of F.R. David or something like that, where it's just unashamedly hitting these chords with a fairly nasty kind of Oberheimish sounding synthesizer thing, but it's beautiful just because of the choices they've made. It's lovely. Sounds about right. It's awesome. That's a great song. And then the last one I put on this, I'm going to add to this because I need to do a deeper dive and find more of this stuff, but here's Them That Do Nothing. Now this is what I like about it. I think I was talking about the stereo image of how they approach acoustics, and this is probably an even better example of that. So there's a on one side, and then the two acoustics are speaking to each other across the stereo image.
What started as a game became a chore before too long. I don't mean to sound tight.
So I think again with this one, they're saving the hi-hat work and anything cymbally within the sort of drum set as a dynamic lift, and it's so effective because if there's only like 2 acoustics, a hand clap, and a drum set, and a bass line rolling through it, then you don't have that much at your disposal to try and give like an injection of excitement as the composition progresses. And they've saved like one of the crucial elements of any drum groove, and it takes, I think that takes real restraint, and discipline as well to sort of hold on to that. And the temptation is to have these massive guitars flying in, but that's not what field music is about. It's not flashy in that way. It's just, I just think it's beautiful. Just beautiful, and it seems simple, but it's not, and it's like really clever stuff. So anyway, have a look at that playlist, have a listen through. Let me know if I've missed any bits, and you can use the comments section to alert me to songs that I might have overlooked, and then I can add that to it. And if you happen to be a member of Field Music, well done. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the field music. That's what this episode should be called. Thank you for the field music. It's awesome. I don't often find stuff that really excites me like that, and this is just brilliant. Thank you. Justin Hawkins rides again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, watch one of these 2 videos, and do yourself a favour. Check out Field Music. Let me know what you think. Nice one, guys. I will see you on the eyes. Okay.